It's Chew's Views with Richard Chew. Filling in today for Richard Chew. Co-host of the Family Meeting, event planner, and champion for democracy, Michelle Peltier.
Good morning, everybody, all the WCPT listeners. I hope you woke up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as they say. I am happy to be here filling in for our beloved Richard Chew here at Chew's Views. Welcome to Thursday, April 10th, and thank you for joining me this morning. I was talking to Henry just a few minutes ago, asking him what time he gets here and what time he goes to sleep, because I am basically a nocturnal creature. So I'm the, stay up until 11, 12, depending on how much work I have. I'm working till 2, but then I'll get up between 6:15 and 6:30. So, but this extra hour is challenging. But today, no drama getting here. Great cab driver who said he'll pick me up tomorrow morning so I don't have to make a call, which is fantastic. So I'm excited about that. Give us a call at 773-763. Catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter stream, and TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, WCPT 820, Heartland Signal Digital Newsroom. As I mentioned yesterday, unfortunately, tickets are sold out for our May 3rd anniversary broadcast at Max and Benny's restaurant in Northbrook. But we do hope you'll tune in that day between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. to hear Hal Sparks, Patty Vasquez, Scott Duff, Joan Esposito, Richard Chew. They'll broadcast live with special guests, including me. I'm not going to say that anymore. The event is sponsored by Max and Benny's, Fazio Insurance, Smart 265, the Democratic Party of Kane County, and Southland Friends of Labor, Democratic Party of McHenry County, and McHenry County Democratic Women. Be sure to visit our anniversary page where you can find details about the special broadcast and photo and sound galleries that track our 20-year history. The address is heartlandsignal.com/anniversary. See how much difference a day make? I read that so much better this morning, I think. Later today, join us later today. See, I spoke too soon. Join us later today for Joan Esposito, live, local, progressive from 2 to 5 p.m. Central, and Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez from 5 to 7 Central, both on WCPT AM, the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Tomorrow on the show, I'm looking forward to speaking with Karen Byrne, our resident activist and podcaster. Maybe she'll give us a surprise call again today. As well as Dr. Lonnie Allen, an educator and author. And Richard, you will be happy to know we'll be back with you on Monday. But you got one more day for me. One more. So listen. I was going to talk about something completely different today. And then all that stock market stuff and all the accusations flying and I don't know. There's just so much to talk about. The tariffs, right? Which is causing the stock market and all that craziness. I'm so troubled. I hope we have some time for me to talk about the deportations or kidnappings, we should call them, because that's so troubling to me. And of course, DT's vendetta against Illinois. ICE came here first, picked up people, tried to anyway, but we were prepared. I will tell you this about Chicago. I'm a transplant. And so I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and I moved here when I was older, so I can compare the two fairly, I think. Chicagoans know how to do two things really well. One is if the sun is out, Chicagoans are out. They do not. I should say we do not waste pretty days. It might be cold outside, but if the sun is out, we are out. I think that's why summer's so fantastic here, because there's so much stuff to do. It's affordable, a lot of it. And we're just out and about in the streets. I love that about Chicagoans. The other thing is, I think we know how to band together in times that are challenging, especially when it comes to voting. I don't know if you read or knew about when ICE first came, there were complaints from the administration or people who work for the administration saying, they know the law. We can't find them. They're not opening their doors. Some have lawyers. And I was telling my cab driver this morning that I have a client, and most of the people that work for them, I'm not going to say they're undocumented because I don't know. I know that they're just not from here. And we told them everything that they were supposed to do, and we actually closed the business for a day so that we could prepare them. So I think Chicago is lovely that way. I do love Chicago people. And we also have the Muskie Starlink that's supposed to be installed in the White House. Have you guys heard about that? Yep. Starlink wants to go everywhere. So if you're connected to Starlink, you might want to reconsider that. I don't know. I'm just saying. And we can also talk about his creepy staff. I'll talk a little bit about that later. I'm hoping Henry comes back really quickly because I'm ready to play a clip. It's a good clip. It's about the stock market, and I'm going to tell you who the clip is from real quick. It's from Christopher Webb. I like him. I do. So the clip is from him. I think there might be an investigation because there seems to be some malfeasance in the air. While I'm waiting for Henry, I have another question to ask all of you that I'm really curious about. I know that we've got the Facebook, the YouTube, and all of that stuff, but does anybody listen to the radio anymore? I don't even. I mean, I listen to WCPT, obviously, but I listen to it on an app on my phone. I don't even have a radio, I don't think. I have Siri, Alexi. I just tell her to play some music, and that's pretty much it. But anyway, good morning, Henry.
Good morning.
Sorry I had you running around at the last minute. My apologies.
Don't be. That's how the job is.
Did you sleep well?
Relatively.
Yeah, I'm one of those too. Are you ready to play me a clip?
Absolutely. Which one are we playing?
Let's do number 4.
That's the one.
That's the one I just sent you.
That one's not ready yet.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about the feedback from the fallout that's happening with the stocks. Let's play the clip from Jessica Tarlov, which is significant because she's a Fox News commentator. That's clip number 3.
One second. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's great to be here.
Around the table.
Around the table.
You're saying that now?
Good
opening line.
Thank you. Trump even admitted that it wasn't the art of the deal or be cool. He said he was watching the bond market. And that's what decided this. He had to cave. I think CNBC's Steve Leisman, he said he didn't just flinch, he ducked. There are trillions still lost. And our very own Charlie Gasparino has been on for the last couple of hours saying that he wished it weren't so, but that the truth is that the White House capitulated. We still have tons of tariffs on, even our closest trading partners. They still don't make any sense. There's a lack of clarity on the specific numbers for Mexico and Canada.
So what do you think about that? I think there's a point to be had there, wouldn't you say, Henry?
Yeah, I think so. Even the fact that they're like seeing the, writing on the wall, it's a sign of, how things are going, I feel.
I know, and the corruption is so rampant, I don't know that anything will be done. But I'm going to take a quick break. Give us a call at 773-763-9278. Okay, we'll be right back.
It's Chew's Views. Filling in for Richard Chew, it's Michelle Peltier.
Back. Give us a call at 773-763-9278. Catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter Stream, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud.com, and the Heartland Signal Digital Newsroom. I'm going to go ahead. We've got a call. I'm going to go ahead and take a call from Kurt right now. Good morning, Kurt.
Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for taking my call, one of Richard's contributors here.
I think I recognize your voice.
Yes. So, anyway, doing a great job, and I
appreciate that.
Yeah, and you were talking to Kurt Mullet yesterday, and you asked about his involvement in politics and everything, and I thought I want to answer that question too. So, were you able to remember how you asked that?
I asked him. First of all, Kurt, let me tell you, I thought you were the other Kurt, and then I had to ask Henry. He told me you weren't Kurt, so and it wouldn't have mattered.
I am, but I'm not.
How did I ask that question? What is he doing now to?
It's something about what's your involvement, or how did you get involved, that sort of thing, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Well, I was never good in sports. All right, as a child. In fact, if I got involved, they would make me umpire because I was never good at sports. So
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I thought I'd make you laugh. So I started reading books as a child. And then it all started, too, with my parents. My dad was a union worker. My mother was an office worker. And my parents made it so that my sister and my brother and I could actually get up close and personal with our elected officials, and people running for president or running for whatever office. And I don't know if you know the story about Bill Clinton and letter writing.
Refresh my memory.
Well, there's a story that used to go around during Bill Clinton's 8 years that every month for his 8 years in the White House, he would pick 10 letters each month and personally answer them.
Yep. I remember now, yeah.
Well, anyway, I was in high school at the time, and the guidance counselor was telling us, find someone to talk to that is in the profession that you're interested in. And at that time, I was interested in government and politics. And I'm thinking, how do I get to talk to Bill Clinton? Because, who better than to ask than the president of the United States?
Yeah.
So I spent my 90-minute study hall time one day, wrote a handwritten first draft letter asking specific questions. And I wish I would have saved a copy of it, because I did ask the library, the Clinton Library, if they still had it like on microfilm or something. If they did, could they send me a copy? They said, no, they burned all those letters from that time period.
Oh, no. Why would they do that?
I have no idea, but they said they probably burned them all. But anyway, so I wish to this day I would have saved that letter, because it's dated October 25th, 1994. Bill Clinton answered my letter specifically.
How cool was that?
Yes, and I actually had it framed and matted, but you can tell he answered because questions were answered specifically about how it goes to get into public office and what it means to be an elected official. And then if I look closer at the signature, it wasn't an auto pen signature. It was a signature that actually leaked on the other side of the paper.
Wow.
So then, I go to college. I major in political science at Kent State University, and then, get involved with the Kent State College Democrats, helped Sherrod Brown run for Congress at that time.
Nice.
In fact, I ran around, actually, one weekend, Sherrod Brown drove me and one other person in his 96 Thunderbird around Wadsworth, Ohio, and gave us hot chocolate. and then the other thing I wanted to say too was the day after the 2004 election, I was disappointed that John Kerry had lost, as many people probably were. And then I thought, okay, there was someone on his short list for vice president that really seemed like a great guy, a real down-to-earth kind of people like us kind of guy. So I sat and I wrote a long letter, introducing myself, explaining my arguments and everything to the then Iowa Governor, Tom Vilsack, asking him to consider running for president in 2008. This is before Barack Obama was really big. And I mailed that letter off. A month later, I got a personal handwritten card from him.
Wow.
And then, but here's the thing. That one letter that I wrote to him in 2004, the day after the election, that sparked a 20-year friendship that Tom Vilsack and I have had now.
Oh, wow. Wow.
In fact, I actually got to see, my mother and my dad, my wife and I took my mother and my dad to Washington, D.C. back in 2010 when he was the agriculture secretary. And he actually had us at the office at the USDA for about an hour visiting.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
So Kurt, let me ask you a question, though, to follow up with that. I don't want to interrupt you, but so what are you doing now?
Well, I'm not so much involved in politics per se. I've spent the last 23 years doing what's called Medicaid case management for my community. With helping people here locally. I get paid for it, obviously. It's not like it's voluntary.
It's still good work. It's still good work.
But what I've been doing for the past 23 years is I've been doing Medicaid case management, getting people on Medicaid here locally in the Northeast Ohio area. It's gotten easier since the Affordable Care Act when the state expanded the Medicaid program, which I'm dying to see what they're going to do if they take that away. But I always get the same argument. That's not fair. Why can't I have it? I pay child support. I pay taxes. I blah, blah, blah. And I have to tell them they have to go by one uniform program because there's 350 million people and they can't do 350 million different formulas to cater to everybody.
Right.
But here's the funny thing is I convinced a maggot a couple years ago how good the Affordable Care Act was because I didn't say it politically because I was working. And that's the other thing. When I'm working, I don't care what your background is. I don't care what you believe, whatever. That's not my job to judge you. My job is to try and get you something, regardless of your politics.
Good for you.
But what was funny is I explained the Affordable Care Act to this maggot the exact same way Barack Obama did. and this guy says, why don't they explain it to us the way that you just explained it to me? And I'm thinking, because you didn't want to listen to the black guy with the funny-sounding name, but you listen to the white guy with the German-sounding name.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Kurt. That's exactly right.
And it's just – and then real quickly, you were talking about, the Democratic politicians or whatever. I have actually a good story about a Republican politician.
That'd be refreshing. Go ahead.
Okay. On New Year's Day, 1992, I was a 15-year-old little punk kid, interested in politics and everything. My congressman, Ralph Regula, called my home, inviting myself and my family to have breakfast with him that following Saturday at a local restaurant in the town that he lives in. And this is a guy who instructed his staff, no matter how simple or how small that job may be, whether it's why is I'm going to date myself, JCPenney's charge card charging me this much, or I lost my luggage at the Akron-Canton airport, I need you to find it. He would have Post-it notes written down of all these things the constituents wanted to have done. And he instructed his staff, no matter how insignificant that task may seem to you, you will do it. In fact, when I was in college, I was going to the 1997 inauguration. Mm-hmm. He knew me, and I went to go pick up our tickets in his D.C. office before the ceremony, and he saw me, and he said, "Hey, Kurt, how's it going?" And he saw my Kent State College Democrats sweatshirt on, and, he invited that Kent State College Democrats group into his private office for hot chocolate.
Very nice. Very nice. Before I let you go, I have a question for you. Another question. Politically in Ohio, how are you feeling? Are you active politically there?
I should be more so than I really am now. It's just with work, it's been kind of busy with everything, but I really should be more than I am. I hate to admit that I'm not. Next year is going to be a big year for us. I mean, we have J.D. Vance's seat up for election because our former Lieutenant Governor John Husted is the caretaker of that seat right now.
Wow.
And I'd really love to see Sherrod Brown take that seat from Husted next year. The governor's race might be a little harder. Vivek Ramaswamy is the Republican front runner right now.
I completely missed that. I did not know that was happening.
Yeah, he actually declared. But here's the thing. We really need to find a good Democrat to run against him. Right now, the only declared one is Amy Acton, who was the medical director for the state of Ohio during COVID, and she's gotten a lot of flack from a lot of people during that time. So we need to Tim Ryan, I think, would be a good shot against Vivek Ramaswamy, but either Sherrod Brown or Tim Ryan for either the governor's seat or the Senate seat. My Congresswoman, Amelia Sykes, is pretty comfortable margin-wise here in my district of District 13. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting, talk about gerrymandering, her district goes all the way from Youngstown, Ohio, which is on the Pennsylvania border, goes through the city of Akron into Canton. I mean, for the first time, my parents and I are actually in the same congressional district now, since before I moved out of their house. And it goes all the way to Wayne County, where the Smucker's factory is located. And so that's a pretty gerrymandered and long place, but at least Amelia Sykes is there doing that. So we have her. So I just wish that, I just wish that the kids at Kent State University, I wish the kids at the University of Akron in my area, those two major colleges, would get more involved and do things at the collegiate level like my group did back in the 90s. Yeah. But
do you have any connection? I mean, do you think that that's something that you can help make happen?
I have reached out to the Kent State College Democrats, but they don't seem to care at this point for whatever reason. I mean, the only one that I've actually been able to reach out to, and you probably heard the interview, was Dr. Chick Canfora was on with Richard and me a couple weeks back.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, she's at least willing to work with people, and, she's willing to talk to people and everything. In fact, I'm planning to go to the May 4th commemoration on May 4th of this year too.
Good.
That would be the first one since all this dictatorship stuff started happening. I'm wondering how that's going to be 55 years later.
You know what? Yeah, right? Oh, it's all just so sad and unfortunate. Well, Kurt, keep up the good work. It sounds like you're doing your part to make the world a better place.
I think I could do more, but I do like to just take history and connect it to the current situation, letting people know, we've been here before. This isn't our first rodeo. This isn't our first time to the dance here.
Yeah.
It's just people don't know this. And like you said, they need to learn their history. And, you can't just learn white history. You have to learn all history. And, I mean, if people realize that back in 1964, 3 civil rights workers were killed because they tried to register black voters in Mississippi, or, all the stuff that happened during the 60s, at least the 60s, with the sit-ins to change things so that everyone could be served. And now we're going back to that again, where federal contracts can be denied or because of DEI or anything like that. It's like we can't go back to that. And we need to tell kids this could happen again. And frankly,
it's not could, Kurt. It's happening.
It is.
It's happening.
It is happening. That's it. And the thing is, Gen Xers are probably not the best people to learn protesting rules from, because we basically had it. I mean, how old are you? Between 1965 and 81?
Before that.
Okay, so you're a young baby boomer. All right, so let's just put it this way. The baby boomers, especially the older ones, they made it possible for those of us behind them to have a better life than they did. They fought all those good fights of civil rights, the Vietnam War, women's rights, everything like that, to the point where the Gen Xers, we took advantage of that, and we took it for granted, and to the point where we fell asleep. And now these kids coming up after us, they need to learn from their baby boomer grandparents how to protest properly.
I think it's so interesting that you say that, Kurt, because I've said this before. I grew up in a politically aware family, meaning we were honored that we could vote. You know, it was a big deal for elections to come in my house. We all were in the same
they were family events at our house.
Yeah, we were in the same district, so we all, made sure that whoever went to vote, that they saw their name, they saw our family's name in the book. It was a thing for us, and it was a thing for us we talked about current events at the dinner table, right?
Yep.
So I don't think families are talking like that anymore.
And there was that too. My dad made it so that, have your opinion. I'm going to show you what's going on. Form your opinion. You don't have to agree with me on it, but I want you to be aware. I want you to have a well-rounded idea. Like when I was a kid, I collected campaign pins. I focused mostly on the Democratic Party, and he noticed that, and he said, you know what? You want a true and fair, honest understanding of your history of doing this, you need to get the Republicans as well and understand what they were doing too, because until you do that, you're not going to have a fair and honest understanding of history.
You're right. We are running a little late, Kurt. So
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. I was listening to you, so I didn't even watch the clock. So, and Henry was too. So we were listening.
He had his hand on his chin, like I was professing.
Can you see him?
No, I'm sorry.
He really did.
All right.
Kurt,
well,
thank you so much for calling. You have a great day. Okay.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye. That was great. Let's take a break, shan't we? As Eric would say. We'll be right back, you guys.
It's Choose You with Richard Chew. Filling in for Richard Chew, it's none other than Michelle Peltier.
Welcome back. Give us a call, 773-763-9278, and catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter Stream, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud.com, and the Heartland Signal Digital Newsroom. Whew, that's all. Before I take this call, I want. Can we play clip 4? Okay, because I thought this was good and important.
So I have questions about the tariff announcements today. Who benefited and who made money? And this should matter to you too. So I have questions about the tariff announcements today. Who benefited and who made money? And this should matter to you too, because this could be an enormous scam. What we know is that about 9:30 today, Trump posts on social media that people should buy. It's a good time to buy. And then 3 hours later, guess what? He announces that there's going to be a 90-day suspension of many of the tariffs. Predictably, the market, which had been crashing, shoots up. And anyone who made investments early today likely made a lot of money. And so the question is, who close to Trump knew that he was going to suspend the tariffs? Which of his Mar-a-Lago friends or his billionaire advisors were able to capitalize on that inside information? Why did Trump send out that post to his supporters earlier in the day? The bottom line is that the chaotic nature of this tariff policy, with Trump's position changing every single hour, gives ample opportunity for any individual who has early access to information about the White House's change in position to make boatloads of money, either by investing at the right time or pulling their money out of the market at the right time. This entire White House is one giant grift. Donald Trump and his friends are in power in order to use their access to government to make money. It stinks, and we should get to the bottom of it.
Was everybody listening to that? First of all, everything they do stinks to high heaven, okay? Let's get that straight. But they are just going buck wild up there. They are doing whatever they want to do, and they don't care because they're the punishers, right? So they're not punishing themselves. They don't have to. Oh, my gosh. Let's take another call. Terry. Good morning, Terry.
Oh, good morning, Michelle. I was listening to what you was just saying about going butt wild. Yes, but to answer your other question, I do still listen to my radio.
Do you?
I do not watch television. I listen to the radio, and it's on 8:20 a.m.
All day?
All day.
Good.
6 radios. I have one in every room, and when I get in my car, that's what it's on.
Gosh, Terry,
so that's 7.
I remember those days.
But, everybody said, why you got it on in every room? I said, because I want them to get as much credit as they can for radios being on. I don't know if that's still a thing.
I think it is, kind of. Yeah,
Is
Henry's
it?
saying, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, that's what I do it for. I have them turned down until I go in that room. Then I'll turn it up. I don't want to miss nothing because, it's just not noise. It's
right.
information. It's very informative. I learned so much. It makes me upset that more people don't have access or won't take the time to listen to channels and get more information from other places.
I think we're so used to our own thing, right? And talk radio, as Kurt was saying, this whole generation is different. The talk radio they're listening to, for the most part, is somewhat toxic. It's not radio, it's podcast, right? Everybody's got a podcast there. I don't know how many do you think approximately, Henry?
Literally millions. Like, it's just
millions, you think?
Infinite number of podcasts. There's way too many. So many.
Yeah, so that's what people are listening to now. I don't know if people even understand about this kind of radio. I don't. It's a lost art, I think.
Well, if I'm looking at you, I don't understand technology. If I'm looking at you on the phone, is that the podcast?
Yeah, if you can see well, yes, I guess so, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think that they're intertwined now, right? A podcast is a radio show could be a podcast, so they're all intertwined. Except I think that the internet has more reach.
More people, you mean, watch it?
Right, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Well, I have grandkids that listen to your channel too.
Oh, good. That's impressive. They did that because of you, right?
Well, yeah, that's what they grew up,
Mm-hmm.
We used to watch Channel 7 every day, getting ready for school and whatever. Then I remember growing up with my mother, she would listen to WVON and WIND.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everything, so I don't know. And once the TV started showing for the news, they started showing the wine tasting, the food, and the movie stars. I quit watching it because I said, I don't need to see reality. I live reality.
I know, that's right. Well, I grew up listening to talk radio because my father was a talk radio person. And so I've listened to talk radio all my life. And when I moved here, I was searching and found WCPT. So I've been listening to WCPT for I've been here 20 years. So almost since they've been around, right? So I've loved this station, and I can't believe I'm talking to you on a mic.
Yeah, well, it's a blessing, and I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are because, like I said, it's information. it teaches us. It's not just talking.
Yep.
You're learning something very important. And all of my kids, my family, we all vote because that's what we grew up doing.
Yep.
And whenever President Obama was running, everybody saying, oh, you vote for him because he's black. What have we been voting for all these other years?
I know, Terry. I know.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not because he's black. It's because he's the better choice for people.
Yeah.
That's doing something for people.
Yep.
We're all people, you know.
Well, some people think we are, and some people think we aren't. So I don't know.
I understand that.
Yeah. It's hard out here. It's crazy.
Yes, it is.
It's crazy.
And I love your name.
Thank you.
I didn't know how to say it because I'm a phonetic person.
Well, how did you pronounce Sidney Poitier's name?
Well, I said that right only because I had heard it. I never really paid attention to the spelling. I just knew Poitier.
It's the same. Peltier.
Oh, okay, Peltier. Yeah, but I would have put Peltier.
Right. Well, listen, my father grew up in Louisiana, and in the state of Louisiana, they have different ways to say it. They say Peltier, Pelletier, even though there's not two L's, but some people spell it that way. So, my cousins don't say our last name the same. 5 of us could walk into a room and we'd all say that our last name differently.
And my father's name, he was my stepfather, but we didn't call him that. He was my daddy. His last name was Porty.
Spell it.
Cecil Porty. It's Portee.
Okay.
And it's Cecil Porty.
Nice.
Yeah. But okay, hon, you have a good one. I'm glad you're smiling today. I love your smile, and I love to hear you laugh. Keep doing it.
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate you so much. Try to call me again tomorrow. I got one more day.
Okay, hon. All right.
All right, have a good one.
I go to prayer at 7 o'clock, so you won't see my number there for a minute.
Okay. Well, say some prayers for me, my dear.
I do that. I really do.
Thank you.
All right, babe.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This is what I will say about this show and Richard's fan base. They are really nice people. Aren't they? Just nice and smart. It just kind of warms my heart. Richard has just, he's got great fans. So tomorrow, I am looking forward to speaking with Karen Byrne, our resident activist and podcaster. And we're also going to have Dr. Lonnie Allen, who is an educator and an author. And I'm really excited to talk to Dr. Allen. He's been on the family meeting before. He's got a book that I think every educator should have in their classroom. But I really want to talk to him about how he's feeling about what's going on right now. Right? And all of you, calm down, relax. Richard will be back on Monday. You got one more day with me, booze. One more day. Okay, Henry, I was talking about, because we got a call, so I lost my train here. I wanted to play another clip. Which one do you have right up in the queue right now?
Tariff announcements and deportations.
Yes. Let's do some deportation. I want to talk about that.
Stop saying they were deported. The people in El Salvador were not deported because deportation requires due process. They were captured against their will with no due process. You know what you call that? Kidnapping. And then they were taken again against their will with no due process to a foreign country. Do you know what you call that? Human trafficking. And then they were put in a squalid prison with no way to get out. Do you know what you call it when you put people who aren't given due process and therefore haven't been proven to commit a crime in a prison with no way to get out? That's a concentration camp.
Okay. We are in some really, do I use perilous times? I mean, I don't know. It's so bad. This is why the this is so disturbing to me. It's scary to me. I don't know. It hits me different, right? Because the stories that I've read, people in their cars going to work, people at home, people just walking down the street, driving their cars, and they take them. They can't call anybody. And then your loved ones have no idea where you are. That is terrifying to me. I can't imagine it. I just can't imagine it. Give me some feedback, Henry. What do you think?
No, it's horrible. It's just very sad that our, kind of country is kind of like not only doing it, but like people are like not like, I understand that like everybody has different morals, but like the fact that we're not like generally unified and like morally opposed to something like this is kind of disheartening a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
That's the word I would use. It's disheartening because it's like nobody cares. I think, you know what? I think that we are, honestly, everybody's just afraid. I think that it's such a strange time that we don't know what to do. I mean, we know what to do, but we're scared to do because we're scared to do something because we're afraid to either lose our job, get alienated from family, friends. I just think that there's a layer of fear around this entire country that's stopping good people from doing the right thing. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that we have more Kurts in the world. That's Kurt 1 yesterday and Kurt 2 today. I hope we have lots more of them. And, we need some Terrys, too, because Terry's teaching her family. So it's possible. We can affect change. We can change this situation. We just have to do it together. And I will tell you something. Unless we have a conversation about what's happening and why it's happening, a real conversation, we're going to be back here in 15, 20 years. After we get out of it in 15, 20 years. Let's take a call. Henry, let's talk to Al in Franklin Park. Hi, Al. Good morning.
Hi. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm all right. I met you at the pizza party a while back.
Well, yay.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're going to have another one.
Oh, okay. That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about where we are and even what you're just talking about and how we're tearing apart our government. We're tearing apart the education system. We're tearing apart Medicare and everything else. And the Republicans are just going along with them. And no problem. But all of a sudden we start taking away their money. And that's when they start speaking up and saying something about it and trying to stop it. And it just tells you that Hillary was right when you call them deplorables. And so on. I just wanted to make that point because it's just where we are right now, and people just got to wake up, and a lot of it has to do with the misinformation in the media, which is my big thing.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, Al, we have to pay attention. Mm-hmm. We have to speak out, and not just on this radio station. We have to be vocal. We all just have to give a damn,
Yeah, that's right. And somebody made a good point, about the protests, is that if all of us that went to the protest brought 2 or 3 friends with us, we'd start getting up to that 3.5%, which they said any protest that gets to 3.5% of the population, when it gets that big, they have always won.
Okay.
And that's an interesting fact. And then we can get into the fact that why our black brothers and sisters weren't there, and one can certainly understand that with the I mean, you guys have been at this for centuries.
Since we could do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Al.
Okay.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. Okay, we have one more caller to squeeze in. Let's see what David, are you in San Francisco?
I am. And gosh darn it, it's still dark. I'm thinking about that.
Hi, David. Welcome.
Well, yeah, when you hear about this corruption of the stock market and now the bonds, it used to be that if people didn't want to if people didn't want to invest in crazy, pet rocks and all sorts of crazy fly-by-night inventions and whatnot, and they just wanted to invest in something stable, they would invest in the school bond issues or the sewer bond issues or the water bond issues, different things that were considered the stability of a region. And when Donald Trump and his crooks have so manipulated the stock market, people use in the old days, in corruption of Richard Nixon or Ronald Reagan or whatnot, they would invest in bonds as a hedge against the collapse of the stock market. Well, now Trump has so diminished the reputation of, you remember for the last number of years, the Republicans went out of their way to never do an infrastructure bill. That's what the bond issues are, the infrastructure bills, and that they would make a point to never invest in the infrastructure. And so they've now so collapsed it. When Donald Trump was doing his budget cuts just a couple of weeks ago, he fired the dam inspectors. Imagine having a dam uphill of you. Your whole town has a dam looming overhead, and Donald Trump fires the dam inspectors. He fires the water protection inspectors. He fires the vaccinations. He fires the health department. He's firing the stability of the country.
Cruelty is the point, David.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I was just going to wrap up by saying I do not want to put $1 more into the U.S. Treasury. Elon Musk, we've got April 15th coming up, and they want us to put our money into the Treasury. And Elon Musk not only has our Social Security numbers, and he's trying to find all of our data, but he wants us to keep plunging our money into on April 15th into the Treasury. So I'm urging people, donate your money, get a tax write-off to local charities that you know are good. Donate your money to, find some local bond issue that you know is stable, a water bond issue, a library bond issue, things that are stable, and don't put it into the Treasury this year. This is, you think market forces are bad, at least invest in your local community to something that is stable. And if Trump wants to come after all of us and put us in prison for not feeding the Treasury on April 15th, good luck with that, because he's fired the inspectors at the IRS.
Here's the thing, and tell me what you think. I actually, these people are in charge, but I don't think that they're very smart. I mean, they have this 2020 Project 2025 and all of that, but it's like they have the template, but not the fill-in for the template, right? So it's like, line A, fire so-and-so, but then there isn't a little a, little b, little c to say what you do after you fire that person, right? It's like they're just, the destruction is there, but they don't have any way to fix it. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, I'm a history nut, and when you read things like the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, the same sort of corruption was going on back then. They, of course, didn't have computers, but the rich had gotten into the legislature to such a degree that they were refusing to pay. They kept invading countries, and they hired the locals of Rome didn't want to join the military and take a chance of getting killed for some dumb general, and so they hired mercenaries, and then they forgot to pay the mercenaries. And so finally the mercenaries got tired of it, and they came back and sacked Rome. And I kind of look at it this way, where you're what you're describing. The rich are so corrupt that they have no long-term view. They simply are cheapskates, and they don't invest. They simply are looking at it like a gambler. I've got my short-term gain. Screw everybody else. Ha ha ha! I won that time, and they're not investing. And so it's the fall of Rome. Many other countries are the same way. I personally think that. The Weimar Republic, when World War I was over and the Kaiser had to abdicate, Germany finally got rid of the king and created their own republic. Well, that king got even, and he supported Hitler, just thinking that he could he could put in such a fool that the people would beg to have the king back. And he made a big mistake by not investing in the region and went out of his way to build an army, and that army ended up ruining the nation of Germany. So this is a repeating cycle. The greed has so fixated them that they don't invest. They're just cheapskates. And just a reminder, Trump was known as a slumlord.
Yes,
and a slumlord that's what he's doing to America.
Well, thank you for that, David. That's exactly what he's doing, isn't it? Huh. And they're all doing it with him.
Yeah.
They're all helping him.
He's not fixing the pipes. He's not fixing the windows. And then he's laughing at people for, he's laughing at the residents of his apartments and claiming that the roof is leaking because of them. So it's he's a cheapskate, and he's so fixated on short-term gain that he doesn't have any ability to invest. Pitiful.
Yeah. Thank you for that, David. I appreciate that. I do very much. What's going on in San Francisco quickly? I got to go in a second, but.
Well, we've got endless protests. It's always a good city for that. Mm-hmm. But, Silicon Valley is a real problem because we had a lot of creative inventors down there, and they were having problems with the old boys trying to get their inventions created, and so they created things like Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden the smugglers and the arms merchants decided to take things like Bitcoin and use them for corrupt purposes.
What?
And so, well, sure. It was
Bitcoin confuses me, so that's not in my wheelhouse. I'm old, so.
I agree. Bitcoin, it was created originally so that the inventors who were having trouble getting Wall Street to invest in them, nobody could figure out whether an invention was a good idea, so nobody wanted to invent it or invest in it. So the Bitcoin originally was just a way for the inventors to invest in themselves. But after a point, it was seen as a corrupt way of paying for smuggled guns or smuggled drugs or prostitution or anything else like that. So Bitcoin has been so corrupted that even the attempt to create a stability has disappeared. So, yeah,
wow.
We're constantly facing off against that. The rent prices out here are stupid because of things like Bitcoin and Wall Street. And we've got thousands of empty units, empty apartments, but who can afford to rent them because,
sure.
The food.
Sure. Okay, David, we got to go. We got news, but thank you. This was great. I want you to call again because I have more questions for you. So call tomorrow if you can.
Hey, morning, Chicago.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. Thank you. Okay. When we come back, we've got a guest, our first guest this morning, Eileen Figel, appointed as the interim general superintendent of forest preserves of Cook County on January 23rd, 2024. We'll be right back with Eileen.
It's Chew's Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820 AM. Filling in for Richard Chew, it's Michelle Peltier.
Welcome back. Welcome back. As I mentioned before we went on break, we have a special guest, interim General Superintendent of Forest Preserves of Cook County on January 23rd, 2024. And then Eileen Figel has been the Deputy General Superintendent since 2014. Let me tell you, her responsibilities have included the implementation of the Next Century Conservation Plan. So I don't know if we'll have time to talk about that today, but welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Do you mind if I call you Eileen?
No, that's fine.
Okay. I didn't know if I should address you by your title, so I didn't want to be inappropriate.
Eileen is great.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So tell us what's going on in the Forest Preserve.
Well, it is spring, and I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but on Sunday it will be in the 60s, and spring is really a beautiful time to be out in the forest preserves. The spring flowers are coming out. The trees are greening. Lots of birding. It's just a really beautiful time to get out and take a walk or a bike ride throughout the woods.
I have a question for you. So I was reading the information from your website, and I want to talk about the frogs. I didn't know that frogs, they hibernate? What are they doing?
They do hibernate like a lot of animals in the wintertime. And again, as spring comes, they are waking up. As you probably saw on the website, we have a frog monitor program where lots of volunteers go out and actually listen for the different types of frogs and document where they are and how many by species. And it's really cool. If you just, walking out and hearing all these frogs singing, it really is it's a really, really cool experience.
Well, I have to tell you something. I'm not a fan of frogs. I was just interested that they stay in the water. Is that where they hibernate? Are they in the water? Where are they?
So I'm actually not a wildlife biologist. I'm not an expert on it, but yes. And that's about the extent of my knowledge on frogs.
Okay, that's it then. What are we doing for Earth Day?
So we really consider every day in the Forest Preserves Earth Day, but we make a special effort. It really is. We have this one small part of our planet that is right here in Cook County that has this amazing biodiversity, and we really do celebrate it every day. Mm-hmm. But during Earth Month, which is April, we really make a special effort to offer all kinds of programs and events so that everyone in Cook County can really find something that's a good match. Nice. So it's everything from special events at our nature centers where you can learn about a specific type of native plant or animal. There's guided walks. There's litter cleanups. There's restoration work days. There's even some special events. As you may know, our forest preserves we're open from sunup to sundown. So to go at night, you need to sign up for a special event. Oh. We even this month will offer a night hike where you can go and monitor bats at Little Red Schoolhouse. and
not bats, Eileen, no.
Yes, bats. You're not a fan of bats either.
No, they're vampires.
No, they're really cool. They're really, really cool.
Oh, okay.
And the forest preserves are magical at night. They really are. It is the most peaceful, serene feeling to be walking through the woods in the dark and the quiet. It's really beautiful.
You know, I've been here 20 years, and I was listening when Cook County President Preckwinkle was on the air, and on this show, she was talking to Richard, and she mentioned that she goes on hikes there. And I had no idea that you could do that. So that's on my to-do list for this summer.
That would be great. And actually, if you can get out earlier than the summer, honestly, spring is a really cool time.
Really?
Because that's when things are waking up from the winter. Mm-hmm. And the spring flowers, they will peak much earlier than the summer.
Okay.
So if you can get out there towards the end of April, that's a great time to be out.
Okay. I got a couple weeks then, yeah.
You do.
Very cool. Very cool. There was one other question I had for you. Oh, just a personal question, if you don't mind. I see that you were a municipal planner for the cities of Baltimore, Maryland, Long Beach, California. I want to ask you about the differences between those states. And, of course, you like Illinois better, right?
You know, I would say my loyalties are split between California, where I grew up and always will. You know, the place I think where you live out your childhood is always going to feel like home on some level.
Sure.
But Chicago is definitely my adopted home, and I've been here half my life.
Yeah.
And they are very different, both in good and bad ways, but both just wonderful places to be and to live. And I will say one thing that's similar with the area I grew up in, California, and here, both Cook County and LA County, I think, have done a really good job of, within these really highly populated urban areas, protecting green spaces so that everyone, no matter where you live, even if you're in, like where I worked in Long Beach, which is a very urban area, kind of a small version of Chicago, there were natural places you could get to within a short drive. And that's, I think, the same thing that Cook County has done such a wonderful job of. And we can't take that for granted because a lot of urban areas do not have that. And it's really a huge asset to our quality of life.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. That was the one thing that was one of many that I was pleasantly surprised by, that I had parks to walk to that's, you know, where I live, and more than one. In probably a mile radius. I mean, they're little parks, but they're parks, right? Little spaces.
Sure.
And, you know, on a beautiful day, you can just walk a couple of blocks and be seated under a tree and, you know, watch some birds, which I don't do, but I think, yeah, the spaces here are amazing. Even in the downtown with the tulips and all of that, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, and there's a reason you react to that, because we evolved as creatures who lived very closely with nature, and that is still part of us, and I think we're all still very much drawn to it. And so what you're describing, I think, is just this really natural human connection to nature.
I love that. That's really interesting. I never thought about it like that before. Huh. That's probably true. Because I think it is. Yeah, it's something that I gravitate to. Yeah, I need to be in some green space. I can't be in the concrete all the time, and it's accessible. I don't have to drive a long way. I can just walk. So I'm always grateful for that.
Right. And you need both. You need the smaller city parks, and you need the more expansive natural areas, which it's a different experience, but both are, you know, that connection to nature.
Yeah. So I'm assuming, and you should never do that spring is your favorite time of the year.
Well, I would say, again, tie, spring and fall. And both, it's interesting. It's the transition that I just love. I love the spring because everything's sort of going from the gray, dormant stage. You see all the leaves start budding and the flowers popping up. And then I love fall as it's all transitioning to the beautiful fall colors.
Yeah.
I just think that's another thing I would say. The forest preserves in the fall are absolutely gorgeous.
I can imagine. Yeah. Do you think that we still have 4 seasons here? I feel like we're down to 2.
I know. I'm afraid spring is going to be a blink of an eye again.
This is spring right here.
Yeah, you're right. So we got to enjoy it. We got to get out there, even though it's not 60 or 70 degrees yet.
Right. We're going to have one more blizzard, Eileen, and then...
No.
Yes, we are. I mean, mark my words. We've got one more in us. We're going to have one more blizzard, and then it's going to be 110 degrees.
Yeah, that could be.
I mean, the seasons are just getting... I think we're losing, too. I mean, I don't remember that much foliage last year. But from where you are, probably was different.
Yeah. No, but you are right. The seasons are definitely changing. And honestly, this is one of the things we also think a lot about is the impact of climate change to the planet and the role of protected green space, but also very specifically the impact of climate change to the native plants and animals here in Cook County, and how do we position the forest preserves to remain as healthy as possible through that time.
So what is the forest preserve active in any of, I don't know, discussions about climate change, ideas in which to help slow down climate change? Are you active participant in those conversations?
We are mostly on a local level, but there's a regional organization called Chicago Wilderness that we are actually a founding member of, and that is one of their key priorities is what is the impact of climate change to the greater region, so way beyond Chicago, but this area, and then what can we all do to protect the natural areas, both kind of like what I said earlier, protect the natural areas that are here, but also understand what can be done to just really mitigate the impacts of climate change more broadly.
Yeah. That's good because it's scary out here. And now with, this new administration is rolling back a lot of those initiatives. So we have to do our part to pick up the slack on that, right?
We do, and I really think we need to do it on 2 levels. Each of us as an individual needs to think about how our habits can change. So go out and buy a reusable water bottle, stop using single-use plastics from that really small level to be a voice and an advocate for protecting nature and for combating climate change. And I will say, too, I am so grateful to the people of Cook County because the vast majority have been so supportive of the forest preserves and understand how important it is to protect nature. So we're very lucky. And on the local level, we are very lucky.
Yeah, I think you are too, and you have a new fan. I'm going to come out there. I'm going to look for you too, Eileen.
All right. I would love to take a walk. You just let me know.
I will. I have your number.
Good.
Eileen, thank you so much for being with us today. I enjoyed it. I learned a little bit, and you will definitely see me, not in April, but you might see me in May.
Okay, sounds good. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And there goes Eileen. See, we have so many great things going on around here, don't we? So I'm thinking that we should take a break. But before we do that, I have been remiss in not reminding you to please visit Choose Views, the show page, to get the rundown on what guests are joining him on the show, especially next week. Listen on demand to recent interviews and full episodes of the show. Find and subscribe links to Richard's full episodes and featured interview podcasts, a photo gallery, and more. You can go to heartlandsignal.com and click on Richard's picture. I don't know if I could go to a break right now. You know why? Because I don't know where Henry is. I have no idea where he is. So I think he's got to do that. But I do have something else I can talk to you about real quick while we're waiting for him. We only have a few minutes before the news. And my next guest, who you know, you're very familiar with her. She's an amazing, amazing woman. And I'm going to surprise you about who she is, but she's a Woodstock council member. So you probably have an idea. We're going to have a fun conversation about an event that we went to together. We weren't together, but I was invited by her, actually. And she's going to join us. And I'm looking forward to that. You know what? If Henry doesn't come in here soon, I'm going to start singing. No, I won't, because that's a good way to get you guys to turn off whatever it is you're watching, listening to us on. I will tell you, though, that we were talking about deportations earlier. There's some good news that I can share with you, that 2 federal judges issued separate orders on Wednesday, placing roadblocks in the Trump administration's continuing efforts to use a powerful wartime statute to deport Venezuelan migrants accused of being gang members to El Salvador. The twin rulings in New York and Texas were in direct response to a Supreme Court decision handed down on Monday that overturned a similar order issued last month by a federal judge in Washington. They suggested that even though President Trump declared a victory when the justices weighed in on the matter, the battle over using the wartime law, the Alien Enemies Acts, to deport migrants is certain to persist. I'm not quite sure how much, I mean, you know, we know they're corrupt. We know that they're thieves. We know that they are misogynists. We know that a couple of them are pedophiles. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I was gonna lie to myself and to you and say I'll never understand how we got here. But we all know how we got here, right? How did we get here? What didn't people want? What did people prefer over somebody else? They preferred, apparently, what we have now, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm getting a little worried about Henry. I don't know where he is. He's been gone for quite some time. I can't do anything, right? This is it. Microphone in front of my face and paper. Here he comes. Ooh, child, I can't. I am old. The stress. I cannot handle it. The stress. We are going to take a break because I'm hyperventilating right now. We'll be right back.
It's Chu's Views with Richard Chu. Filling in for Richard Chu, it's none other than the one and only Michelle Peltier.
I'm not going to lie. Those things make me happy. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. 773-763-9278. Give us a call while we have some time. Catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud.com, and Heartland Signal Digital Newsroom. Okay, I am so excited. I love this woman. I would like to welcome, or all of you welcome, our next guest, Woodstock Council Member Natalie Ziemba. Am I pronouncing that right, Natalie? Good morning.
Hi, Michelle.
How are you?
Yeah. I'm great. I'm a little tired. I just flew in. I got in very late last night. I was in Las Vegas for a big work conference, so I was there for 3 days.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, you are exhausted. Well, thank you for calling in today. That's so sweet of you.
I cannot miss an opportunity to chat with you. You know that.
I know. I feel the same way. Probably more me than you. But anyway, so you know what what I want to talk about, right?
You bet.
Let's go into it. The hoodie ball.
Quite a little event last Friday.
Yes, where we were together. We danced the night away. It was so fun. It was the best fundraiser I've been to in years. So creative, so fun. So it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. So what Michelle and I are talking about is the 3rd annual hoodie ball, which is in support of My Block, My Hood, My City, Jamal Cole's amazing nonprofit based in Chicago, based primarily on the South and West Side. And can you believe it, Michelle? Jamal started this organization 10 years ago.
Wow.
It's 10 years that that he's working at this. And
he's still young, though, isn't he? He's a young man.
Yes, he's young. Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly what I think it excites me most is when I see activists, because I really think of him as a young activist. And remember, he did run for office.
Right.
He was for a congressional seat in the primary a couple of years ago, and he's just so inspirational. I love people like that who are just so positive and have such a clear mission and are so driven. And it gets me pumped and motivated to do more, right? And I just had such a good time. I think we all needed an evening like that. I don't want to speak to you, but
yes, no, absolutely. It was good to be in an environment where we were doing good, but because they had the silent auction and other good things going on. The music was great, but it was just good to be with people who cared about something other than what's going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And although, you and I, we were sitting next to each other, so of course we can't help but rear into the world of politics.
Right.
That's not what the evening was, right? It was about coming together, being informed, helping to spread the word about this amazing organization and raise money. Because as a nonprofit, as you well know, you're nothing without some funding behind you. So I think that's what we were there for, supporting, like you said, the silent auction, supporting the raffle. We had some winners at our table, which was very exciting.
Yes, Stella. I think Stella won 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stella won 2. Yep. And my mom, Barb, won 1.
That's
so
right.
Really
that's right. That's right. So a question for you. No, I'm going to make a statement, then I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
This was just the 3rd year of this hoodie ball, is my understanding. For a 3rd year fundraiser, that was incredible. They had about, how many people do you think they had, like 500, 600?
Yeah, I was trying to kind of count by table, and my estimate would be close to 600 people.
Yeah. In a 3-year time span, that is amazing.
It's extraordinary. I think because of his social media presence has helped quite a bit. But just think of who he is primarily trying to help. It's young people, and then it's older people, because he does have initiatives, especially with the 100 blocks in 100 days, and then he does Be a Part of the Light, where volunteers come together and they put up holiday lights and decor at people's homes. And it's the older people that just, they literally light up. They get so excited when volunteers show up and help to put up their holiday decorations and light up their homes, and the blocks get lit up, and it's just so fun. So, but I mean, Jamal has done like grassroots activism and helping people all over the city by doing things like, food drives and meal distribution. I mean, he was essential during COVID, right?
Yeah,
so, like, people who are isolated, and we know that affects our population mostly of seniors, right? People that are 65 and over tend to be more isolated.
Yeah.
And once that happens, we see that happen with people. What happens? Cognitive decline. And we saw that happen with my dad, right? And we don't want that to happen. So Jamal, I think, is just so essential, touching people who are young, right? I mean, he worked. Remember, he was doing things at the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center. And that's where he was volunteering. And he was observing, like, look, teenagers who are not venturing outside of just their small hood, right, their neighborhood, they're missing out on essential services and culture and learning. How do we bring them into the city? And so he has his Explorers program, which helps to do that, which gets young people out into the city to learn about different cultures, different cuisines, right, different places, their neighborhood. So I applaud his efforts, and I think it's amazing what he's doing.
So, Natalie, let me ask you this. How did you come about an acquaintance with Jamal?
Honestly, I've been following him for just about these 10 years that he's been doing this. And I found him, I think, probably on social media. As you know, algorithms on social will try to give you and put things in your feed that you like and engage with. Well, I tend to like and engage with things that are like social activism, grassroots efforts, things like that. And so I just kind of kept, and I think partly, Michelle, it was his logo, because he uses pieces of the Chicago flag in his logo, right? He's got the stars, the colors, sort of that branding. And I'm thinking, what is this cool young person up to? And I just started reading about him more and more, connected with him, of course, on all of social media, including LinkedIn. And I saw that he was running for office. I started getting people that I'm engaged with, and I always talk about concentric circles. And I think of his philosophy about starting with like a block, working out into a neighborhood, working out into the city. I think in my influence circles like that, right? I have a lot of people close to me, and then I have all of these other circles of influence. So I just started sharing the word about what he was doing and all of the good work he was doing. And eventually I had friends and family who were like, this person is amazing. And then started donating to his campaign when he was running. My mom and I, Barb and I, went to one of his fundraisers when he was running for office. And, you know, he's just so social and he's so personable. And again, like, I just want to connect with people who are doing good things. If not in the world, start locally, start at the local level. It's so important to do that.
I hope that's
my connection to him. You know, I wouldn't call him a best friend, but I would call him like just more than an acquaintance, right? When I saw him on Friday night, you know, my mom and I were waiting in line to take a photo. He saw me. We locked eyes. He had a huge smile. I had a huge smile, and we gave each other this huge hug. He's like, "It's so good to see you again." So it's stuff like that that I just love about him.
Well, I think that story that you just told about your journey to getting to actually meet him and do some good things for him, like selling a table. Which is that's the kind of stuff that matters, right? You connect to people, and you don't just want to breathe their air. You want to help them do that thing that they're doing that you admire and that you know is good for the community, for other people, right? Yeah.
Right. It's one thing to show up, but it's another thing to help him grow his sphere of influence. Who can I pull in? Who can I introduce him to? And I think that was one of the most important things for me of the evening was, think of our table. I introduced new people to Jamal who may have not known much about my block, my hood, my city, and what he's doing and all of the good work he and his organization are doing. We had a table full of people I got to introduce to his organization. So I think that's and did it cost money to go? It did, but I was happy to support him, and Eric was happy to support him, and I think we did some good things, and we had a lot of fun.
We had so much fun. So much fun. But I think that you can be an example. I don't even know if I would call it networking, right? You just kind of, it sounds, the story that you tell about this journey sounds so organic because it hit something in your spirit and you decided to follow him. And then you're getting other people involved by bringing us to this dinner, because I knew about this organization, but I didn't know about it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I'll share one quick other anecdote. I have been in Richard Chu's ear about Jamal Cole for quite some time now. And it was a few months ago, he finally interviewed Jamal on Chu's Views. And it was a wonderful interview, and I was so excited. And I know at the end of that interview, he, of course, said, Jamal, we're going to have you on again.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So it's things like trying to introduce him to new people, spread the word, use media like WCPT, and use our spheres of influence however we can to help organizations like this, because this is how we change the world, one small little thing at a time.
Yeah.
And I really do believe. I really do.
I do too, Natalie. I do too. I think that's why we like each other.
I think you and I connect. We're kindred spirits, as I say, but I think our outlook on things tends to be a little bit more on the positive side. I'm an eternal optimist, and I don't deny that, and I'll never back down from that.
I'm with you on that one.
I lead with positivity.
Yeah. So before I let you go, Natalie, what's going on with your district? What's happening?
Oh, my gosh, so many exciting things out here in Woodstock. We have some major projects coming, one of which is the expansion of Route 47. And this is an IDOT project, but it's anybody who's kind of been out in this corridor. If you're on the Jane Addams Tollway, if you're on I-90 and you're heading west, like towards Rockford, you'll pass through places like Schaumburg, Hoffman Estates, and then you just keep going, right? And eventually you'll come to Route 47. And Route 47 passes through Huntley and then eventually gets up here to Woodstock and then gets you over into Lake Geneva, right? So that's your major thoroughfare to get into Wisconsin and into that Lake Geneva area. And it is a 2-lane highway. And it gets extremely congested. This part of the county, McHenry County, is just growing and growing and growing. A lot of industry, a lot of manufacturing, a lot of new business, but a lot of residents. Yeah. And so I has prioritized this project. Now, interestingly, as it passes through Woodstock, we as a municipality are responsible for relocating the utilities, and that comes at a very large expense.
Oh, wow.
So I made a trip. Yeah, I made a trip recently to Springfield with some of my other members of council, which was the mayor and then some of the city staff, to really compel our Illinois legislators to help us with funding of this project. We are a small municipality. We are mighty, but we're small. We're 25,000 people. And you're talking about several $1 million to contribute to an IDOT project. It's a lot of money for us. So we are hopeful that, if we kind of keep pounding the pavement, so to speak, and visiting with them and writing letters and getting them to sign on letters of support, that we can hopefully get some funding from the state or from IDOT. So we'll see. I'm hopeful on that. That's a huge major project. And then something else that's really exciting, there's a lot of beautiful renovation happening to one of the most beautiful buildings on our Woodstock Square is the Woodstock Opera House. And Woodstock,
wow.
It's a historical space that people like Orson Welles performed at. And so, it's a cornerstone of our beautiful historic downtown square. And we are making an investment into some renovation there. So that project is in full swing. So that's, talk about very local right here in Woodstock.
I love it.
And one other plug I'm so excited about the May event, the live broadcast, right, from Max and Benny's in celebration of WCPT's 20th anniversary.
Yes.
I will be in attendance.
Oh,
I can't wait
I get to see you.
The McHenry County Democratic Party is one of the sponsors, and so is I'm on the board of the McHenry County Democratic Women.
The women,
so we're so
of course you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very
Absolutely.
cool. Are you bringing your mom?
I'm not. Tom and I will be in attendance.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you get to see him again.
And I, both of them, just your whole family's just wonderful, Natalie, just like you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I wouldn't expect anything less. You want to plug anything else, my darling?
We do okay. Sorry?
So do you want to plug anything else, my darling, before we head out?
Oh, my God. Just, you know what, everybody, take a breath. If you need to take a little rest, Richard says this a lot. If you can take a rest, that's all right. But get up and get back in the fight. I was really excited to see so many people at rallies around the country.
Yes.
We had a very large turnout out here in McHenry County. So, and I'm not calling it a protest. I'm just calling it a rally.
A rally,
It was bringing people together. Everybody sort of has their own reason for being there, but it was incredible to see the energy. And now it's like, okay, take that momentum, take that excitement and enthusiasm now and do something else. Figure out what else you can do and keep the momentum going.
And that is a great way to kind of wrap it up for you. Okay?
Okay.
Well,
it's so good to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you. Welcome home. Get some rest.
Thank you.
And if I don't see you before, I'll see you May 3rd.
Sounds good. And you're going to get a big hug. You know it.
I look forward to those, Councilwoman.
Awesome. All right. I'll see you soon. Take care.
Okay, you too. Thank you, Natalie.
Love.
All right. That was so great. I mean, seriously, can you tell how fond I am of her? She's really an exceptional human being. Just, yeah. It was immediate. Why don't we take a break and then we'll come back and wrap it up? Okay, we'll be right back.
It's Chew's Views. Filling in for Richard Chew, it's Michelle Peltier.
Welcome back. 773-763-9278. Catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter Stream, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud.com, Heartland Signal Digital Newsroom. So, I have some good news and a short little story to tell you, Henry. So, predatory wreck chaser tow trucks target Chicago drivers. We all know that, right? Now the city council is chasing them. Have you heard about this?
I haven't. What's going on?
Oh, they're chasing them in return. The alderman on the License and Consumer Protection Committee unanimously advanced a measure Tuesday giving drivers new rights to sue rule-breaking tow truck operators.
Oh.
If it passes in the full city council next Wednesday, the ordinance could also give predatory tow operators a taste of their own medicine. It would allow police to seize the tow trucks themselves.
Wow, that would be something.
So here's my story. So I had a car 5 years ago. I was taking care of my parents, and so I needed it. And I went to Walgreens, and I went in to get their medication. I had to wait. So Portillo's is across the street. And I'm sorry, Portillo's is my Achilles heel. I cannot be around a Portillo's.
I feel that.
And my parents loved it too. So I thought, while I'm waiting, I'll go across the street, get the Portillo's for our dinner, come back, get the medicine. So that's what I did. Got the medicine, came back out, car gone.
Oh, no. I was going to say, I feel like I know where this is going, but unfortunately, yeah.
Go back inside, ask for the manager, tell him my car is gone, and he goes, oh, yeah, well, did you leave the store? And I said, yeah, I went across the street to get Portillo's. He said, yeah, they got cameras everywhere. So as soon as they see somebody leave and they leave their car and they go someplace else, they don't wait to see where they're going or if you're coming right back. They just swoop in and take your car.
Jeez, that's fast though.
It was literally 10 minutes.
Like, were they around the corner just waiting?
They parked. Yes, they do. They parked in an alley. Yeah. So I'm telling the guy, I'm like, well, where the is my car? And he's like, well, it's when they tow it, they take it to so-and-so. And I say, what are we supposed to, what? And so he gives me the address, take a cab out there. It's like 45 minutes away. And it's in this area that looks like it's so scary, right? It's dark. There's abandoned cars everywhere. And it's just, and the structure itself was filthy. And, cab driver's like, peace out.
He's like, I'm not sticking around.
Hope you get your car back, babe, because I'm out. So I go inside, tell them who I am, and they say, okay, for you to get your car out, it'll be $350. And I said, no, it won't. I don't know. No. Call the manager. Call the manager of Walgreens right now. Get that on the phone so we can all talk together. Mm-hmm, See, that's my life philosophy. When people try to gossip and stuff, let's all get in a room.
Yeah.
Shall we? Let's just take care of it.
Yeah.
All together.
Yeah.
And so I left there with my car and only having to pay for the cab that took me there.
Hey, good for you. It worked out, I guess. I guess I'll go through it, but
I guess, but my Portillo's was cold.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And my mood was shot.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because what? All right. Okay. Where am I now? I was so excited to tell that story. It's 7:53. I have something else, don't I? Yes, I do. I do. This is a story that's old, but I'm reading it because I have questions. Okay?
All right.
Okay. It's from Newark, New Jersey. A Pennsylvania man who was going through security at a New Jersey airport was found to have a live turtle concealed in his pants. Did you hear about this?
No. That's crazy.
According to the Federal Transportation Security Administration, the turtle was detected on a Friday in March after a body scanner alarm went off at Newark Liberty International Airport. A TS officer then conducted a pat-down on the East Stroudsburg man and determined there was something concealed in the groin area of his pants. When questioned further, the man reached into his pants and pulled out the turtle, which was about 5 inches long and wrapped in a small blue towel. He said it was a red ear slider turtle.
Oh.
A species that is popular as a pet. Yeah. The man, whose name was not released, was escorted from the checkpoint area by Port Authority police and ended up missing his flight. The turtle was confiscated, and it's not clear if the turtle was the man's pet or why he had it in his pants. So many questions.
Yeah, I bet he's very happy his name did not get released.
I know. You know his friends know who he is,
absolutely.
though.
They're like,
that's Charlie.
That's Charlie. That's got Charlie written all over it.
I mean, I don't know. People, okay. So, I want you guys who are listening to us, looking at us, to stay with us. We have Stephanie Miller next, followed by Tom Hartman. And we save the best for the last. Joan Esposito live, local and progressive, from 2 to 5 p.m. Central, for those of you who are not in the Central Time Zone. And Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez from 5 to 7 Central. Both on WCPT AM, the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you're not busy on Sunday evenings between 4 and 6, come back to WCPT and you can listen to me again. Oh, God. But listen, on Sunday, I barely say a word because the host, Eric Grant, is in charge. I just read the news, okay? So just know that. And it's a completely different show. That's where I met Richard Chu, which was, meeting both of them changed my life. I think I'm coming down with something. Anyway, which is always delightful. So, yes, if you think about it, join us on Sunday. Sometimes Richard comes home, meaning he comes and joins us, which is always so much fun. And if you already listen, you know that we have Drunk Ass Adrian, who actually will be with us this Sunday. I know that for sure. He's delightful and smart. And, yeah, I think that's it for me, babe. I'm going to head out, and thank you so much. I will be here tomorrow. Got 2 really good guests that I told you about. Thank you so much for being with us today. Henry and I got it together. Actually, today was fun. It was like a big test. I loved it.
Absolutely. That's been great.
You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.